What's going on, fight fans? My name is Dave Podolsky, and I am joined once again with Justin, the guitar hero Jaynes. He is set to return to combat this Friday at Tuff-N-Uff when he takes on Tsogookhuu Amarsanaa. Justin, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, dude. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas. Get to come here, get to the gym. Just got an hour of training in. Got to get my road work in. Gonna get some treadmill. Just focusing on my weight, in shape. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to knock the Mongol out.
Yeah, it's always fun for me getting to interview you because I never know where you're gonna be, and I think this is the second time I've gotten you on a treadmill, so that's a fun experience for me.
Yeah, dude. It's for everybody watching, I was like, what the fuck's that on his head, guys? Listen, if you're training with ear cup headphones like I have these Bose, do not put them over your ear caps. When I was in the UFC, my trainer went crazy on me because it becomes a cesspool of bacteria. So always put something over your head, guys, when you put your ear cup headphones on. That's the advice of the day.
Listen, train smarter, not harder.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So, talk to me, how this fight come together? You're taking on short notice, but you are, he's Mongolian, and this fight's in Vegas, right where you're training. So you're the hometown fighter on this one.
Yeah, yeah, dude. This came together. Goker, he's the matchmaker for Tuff-N-Uff, hit me up, asked me if I was ready for a tough fight. I tell him I'm always ready for a tough fight. Since my neck surgery, or excuse me, since exiting the UFC, I have fought two UFC vets and a PFL vet. I don't shy away from tough competition. This guy's a one championship MMA fighter. He's an exceptional kickboxer. But the game plan, as always, is hit him harder than he hits me.
Mhm. I guess I was gonna say, if you gotten to watch, the footage on him, what gives you the advantage over him?
I'll tell you this: what gives the advantage is my will to win. This guy. I'm the underdog in this fight. A lot of people criticize me for taking this fight because it's a tough fight for me, but I don't give a fuck. Here's the thing: I'm 34 years old. I've been to the UFC. I've been to Bellator. I've been to the PFL or World Series at that time. Like, I get to fight in Vegas in front of my family, in front of my friends, in front of my clients, in front of my students. People are like, all right, well, I think you need to focus on wrestling for this fight because, you're an exceptional collegiate wrestler. Fuck that. Mongol, I hope you see this. I might take you down if I want. But I tell you what, I'm looking to finish this fight on the feet. I have to put a staple on this fight. This is my chance to get back to the UFC. Coming in and taking Mongol down and grinding him out for 15 minutes isn't getting me to where I want to be. I need to put on a show. I need to be exciting, and I need to put some hands on the Mongol.
Do you feel like the win over him gets you back into the UFC?
It depends on how the win goes.
Mhm.
Now, if like I said, if I grind out a boring decision, no, it's not going to happen. But when I go in there throwing fireworks like I always do, like I'm going to, and he's wondering why I ain't trying to take him down because I'm winging fucking grenade launchers and bricks at his head for 15 minutes. That's the only way back.
Mhm.
This needs to be Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway type fight. I want it drug out. I want it bloody. I want the crowd going crazy. I'm telling you what, this is the first time in such a long time that I can fight. And of course I care about the outcome, but my preparation for the last 5 weeks has been so good. I've changed a lot of things, a lot of stuff in my personal life. There's some toxic relationships I was dealing with, and still kind of am dealing with them. But I put everything to the side to focus on nothing but the task at hand right now. And I'm ruining relationships. I'm ruining friendships. I'm cutting people off. I don't give a fuck. It's the Guitar Hero back to the UFC or bust. Because reiterating third time, going in and making this a boring fight and winning a boring fight ain't turning any heads. I'm going in there and knock this motherfucker out.
When you look at kind of your path over the last few years, you exited the UFC, a couple regional losses, coming off the win now. Now that you're coming off that win, I guess how's the mindset change? And I think when we had talked back I think after you beat Carson Hardman, you told me ideally 3 wins, and that gets you back in the UFC. Obviously, the fight with David Gardner didn't come together, but now you're taking this one short notice. I guess I'd say, what is the ideal kind of next, let's say 6 to 12 months for Justin Jaynes, assuming that
Dude,
starts with a win this weekend?
I go for a win this coming weekend, and I'm calling everybody out, man. Dude, I already have. I can't. I don't really want to, expose my post fight antics or anything, but I've already planned this. I've already, fuck. I'll be honest. I'll be straight up. Like, I did a psychedelic trip, like, right before this fight came through. I'm straight with you guys. You know what I mean? Here's another thing. Like, I was talking, and I want to talk about this for a second. I was talking to a fighter friend of mine, and There's a lot of fighters that take psychedelics, to get their mind right, whether it's mushrooms, whether it's ketamine, you know. But I tell you what, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They're worried that they're going to be judged. I don't give a fuck because you know what? It's helped me out a lot. Now, again, I'm not saying go abuse that shit, but I tell you this has helped me out a lot. I was in a hard depression, especially, I beat Carson Hardman. I'm at the highest high. I'm back on a win. I have a fight against David Gardner. I have another fight lined up after David Gardner. Both those fights fall through. And I'm back in the same boat. Now I get the opportunity to go fight a world-class kickboxer in my hometown in front of all my people. This guy, I mean, he's tough, dude. He's from one championship. He trains over at Team Elevation in Colorado. This guy's a savage. But guess what? I'm a savage too. And like back to what I was talking about like a month ago or 2 months ago, I did this trip and I saw my path per se. And you know what? The outcome to me matters. I do obviously want to win, but I'll tell you what, I've done everything in my preparation the best I could. I hired a nutritionist. I've been lifting weights 2-3 times a week, been sparring, like busting my ass off, putting the work in, man. It's when you put in the work that I've put in for this camp, whatever happens in the fight. Anything can happen. I could go in there and get knocked out in 5 seconds. But guess what? I won't regret it because I have no regret in my training. And I've done everything perfect, and I'm ready for this guy.
What is that path back to the UFC?
The path back is me knocking this motherfucker out in the second round, first round of the second round, and, putting on my post-fight show, which I'm not going to expose right now.
Fair enough. Now, I know the answer to this, but for the viewers, remind me where you're training and who have been your main training partners to this camp.
I'm training at Extreme Couture, probably the best gym in the world, or at least one of the best gyms. In my opinion, it's the best gym in the world. Dude, we got guys like, UFC champions like Sean Strickland, Francis Ngannou. We got head coaches like Dennis Davis, Eric Nixick, Roman Isbell. We're talking about Jake Shields. Like this is the best gym in the world, guys. I moved all the way from Michigan in 2009, or excuse me, 2012. I came out here in 2009, moved here in 2012 for a reason, for a purpose. And everything is coming down to this fight. Essentially, I'm fighting every fight like it's my last fight. And even if I lose this fight, obviously it's not going to be my last fight. But the chance of me getting back to the UFC is basically slim to none. So then fighting is just going to become a hobby after that. I haven't been this excited about a fight in a really long time, man. And like I said, I'm going to go out. I'm putting on a show. It's going to get crazy. And it's just going to be a good time for everyone watching.
I do want to ask, because I will say, I feel like the mindset has changed, from fight to fight. I think going into the Padilla fight, you told me this is the last chance, and that was a loss, but it kind of played out, with the whole, should have been no contest. I know we both agree on that one. And then obviously you beat the brakes off Carson Hardman before the Hardman fight, that was the last chance for you to get back in the UFC. I feel like because it's so win or bust, do you feel like it almost takes a little bit of the pressure off because you kind of just have to go in there and it's almost like you have nothing to lose because you're out, you're not in the UFC. You can kind of fight more freely. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Because again, I know most of these guys on the regional scene, I'd say 95% of them, I can out wrestle all these guys. I can out grapple all these guys. But for the casual fan, nobody wants to see that. I'm the guitar hero. I bring excitement to the cage. I'm an entertainer. I'm not like, dude, I've already done that boring lay and pray shit. And you know what? Looking back in my career, I'll never regret not doing that. I'm never going to 10 years be like, man, I wish I would have took guys down and laid on them and won decisions. Yeah. Could I have made more money? Sure. But I told everybody before I got to the UFC, I want to be known for banger fights. I want to go in there. I don't care if it's an undercard, main card. When you see my name on the card, I want people to go, ooh, this guy's a fucking banger. Whether I win or lose, I fucking throw hammers and I take damage and I don't look for ways out. I'm a fucking dog. I fight and I'm bringing the fight to this guy in my hometown in front of my people.
Yeah, you mentioned fighting in Vegas with your people there. How much does that motivate you? And yeah, I guess just like having your people there, how much does that motivate you?
Dude, it's when you say how does much that motivate you, I literally got goosebumps. Like there's kids that I've been training, since they were fucking 5, 6, 7 years old, and now they're in high school and they're gonna come out and watch me fight. I got this 8-year-old named Jack Barclay, man. He's a freaking stud. I just did a private with him an hour ago, and he's asking me like, hey, what are you gonna do? And his dad's telling me that, man, I just want to let you know Jack looks up to you because you're short and strong, and he's really short, and he feels that because you're short and strong, he can be short and strong. And dude, there's like how much more motivation do I need? I can look up I see all the kids that I'm yelling at, telling them what to do. Now I get to not only go out there and do it in front of them, but do it at a world-class level and show you that, hey, look, I've had hand surgery, no surgery. I had neck surgery last year. Fuck that. Persevere through all that shit, kids, and get up. There's kids that are fucking taking training off because they have a bruised toe, because they have a hurt hand. No, I don't fucking tolerate that shit. This sport is all about perseverance. That's right. It's easy to be around for a little while, but I've been around for a long time, and I've persevered through some of the craziest situations that anybody could ever imagine. And most fighters do. Everyone has their story. But at the end of the day, like I said in my Carson Hardman interview, I'm here to motivate people. All right. I've already accepted the fact that I'm never going to be a millionaire fighting. But if I can motivate, a fucking 100 kids to get out of bed in the morning, or 100 adults to get out of bed in the morning and fucking keep busting their ass, I feel my job's done.
Yeah, I think that's extremely commendable. I know obviously we talked after your fight with Carson Hardman. I know that not necessarily the promo, but the speech you dropped after that, I think even outside the regional scene, I think that was seen by a lot of MMA fans who felt, knowing your situation, knowing you're out of the UFC, but continuing to win fights after that, it's extremely motivating. You had also talked to me about, your dad and what he's going through. First off, how's he doing? And second of all, how is, I guess, that kind of factoring into this camp as well?
It's my dad annoys the fuck out of me, man. It's for my Carson Hardman fight. He had that episode where he had to go to the hospital the day of weigh-ins, kind of put me in a funk a little bit. It's my dad. I mean, he's my parent. He's my dad. I'm sure your parents can annoy you too sometimes. But at the end of the day, he means well with everything. And he's one of my biggest supporters. I love him to death, of course. And, unfortunately, it's just Father Time is catching up to him. And day by day, he's forgetting more and forgetting more. And it's harder for him to walk and harder for him to breathe. And, I'm just trying to enjoy the time I have with him right now.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'm obviously wishing him the best. Um, I guess on sort of a lighter note, because kind of next on what I had lined up. I know you're obviously from Detroit, big Detroit Lions fan.
Let's go.
And they just re-upped Jared Goff for a considerable contract. How'd you feel about that one?
Fucking love it. I love Jared Goff, man. I didn't care for him, coming in from the Rams. I was like, oh, this pretty California boy coming into Detroit. But I tell you what, man, within a couple games, I realized this guy's the real deal. He's been to the Super Bowl. He almost took the Lions to the Super Bowl. This guy is an incredible quarterback. He's an incredible leader. And that's not just my opinion. That's the team's opinion. I like football more than I like MMA. I follow Lions football more than I like MMA. And I tell you what, when you have a core group of guys like the Lions do, and not one guy on that team, whether it's defense, offense, or special teams, or second string, third string, not one guy will say one bad thing about Jared Goff. And I tell you what, when you bring the best athletes in the world together, because in my opinion, football players are the best athletes in the world. When you bring all those guys and you put them in a room, there's a lot of ego in that room and a lot of jealousy and a lot of, oh, well, he makes more money, or, oh, blah, 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 this and that. Not one guy has any complaint about Jared Goff. And that just tells me what kind of person he is. And he's my quarterback.
Give me I mean, it's still several months out from the season, but give me your official prediction for the Lions this year.
13-4, Super Bowl bound.
Ooh. Do you think
NFC North champs.
You think they're finally breaking the curse?
I mean, everyone was really sad they're disappointed, with the outcome last year. It's like, how can you be disappointed? That's the furthest the Lions ever went. Now, don't get me wrong. The NFC North or the NFC Championship game, talk about disappointment. I think we were ahead like 24-7 at halftime and they blew it, or it was something like that. And I mean, that was beyond disappointing. But with that being said, they're a young team. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff is only like into his 5th or 6th year. He's like 28 years. I don't know how old he is, but I know he's young. You got fucking Montgomery in the backfield. You have Gibbs in the backfield. You have, I mean, geez, look at this line. You have Penei Sewell, like just such a young core group of guys. Not to mention, we have Jared Goff for the next 4 years. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 years. Like, these are up-and-coming studs, and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are doing everything the Detroit Lions need to do to win. The only thing that'll stop us are injuries, because you just never know.
Yeah, I'll give a big shout to Dan Campbell. As I remember when he first got hired by the Lions, you could always see his that dude wants to win more than anyone I think I've ever seen coach an NFL team. Just from
Yeah,
that.
I tell you what, and you know what? Not only do you say that, not only do I say that, all his players say that.
Mhm.
We're talking about a guy that openly admits to consuming 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine every morning. Like, that's my kind of guy. I can relate to that. He wakes up, he starts chugging espressos. He needs to get work done. Until the Lions win a Super Bowl or multiple Super Bowls, Dan Campbell's not done. And by the way, he's in Detroit to stay, because I just saw a post that he's building a house in Grosse Pointe, which is like 20 minutes from my house, where I'm from. Grosse Pointe's a very, very rich neighborhood. It's on the water, Lake St. Clair. And from my understanding, Dan Campbell's building a house there, which tells me he's here to stay.
Well, best of luck to your Lions this season. I will obviously still be backing my Birds, and we'll see how it plays out. I think two franchises kind of heading in opposite directions a little bit, but we'll see. I'm excited for the NFL season. We'll see how it plays out. Best of luck to your Lions. Looking back at this fight, so training at Extreme Couture, Sean Strickland has a big fight coming up. He's facing Paulo Costa. From what you've gotten to see of him in the gym, how do you think that fight's gonna play out for him?
Dude, it's Sean. I've said this before. I'll say it again. The hardest working guy in the gym, and I'll keep saying it every time I'm asked. Sean doesn't do anything different. Doesn't matter if he's fighting me. Doesn't matter if he's fighting you. Doesn't matter if he's fighting Izzy. Doesn't matter if he's fighting Acosta. The guy is in the gym 24/7. Right now, he was in the gym. When I got here, he was already here. I don't see him anymore right now. But the guy, you can't beat someone that works as hard as he does. He just outworks everybody. He's never tired. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but I really think that Sean's going to put a pace on Acosta that Acosta's not going to be able to keep up with. See you later, buddy. That Acosta's not going to be able to keep up with. I think Acosta's going to come out swinging heavy in the first round. As long as Sean can survive that first round, I think he's going to take him to deep water and beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, I'll mention it's a 5-round fight too. I think that has to play to definitely to his benefit, just with how insane his cardio is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Justin, it's a pleasure as always. And just my final question, this Friday, Justin Jaynes, Tsogookhuu Amarsanaa, I'm definitely pronouncing that name, so my apologies to him. But Justin, give me your official prediction for this fight.
Justin Jaynes is finishing this fight, whether it's on the feet or on the ground, within 2 rounds. Be there, be square. Because I tell you what, hands, kicks, knees, elbows, they're being thrown. Guitar Hero's going out on a shield if it happens, baby. Let's go.
Justin Jaynes, and never one to not drop the promo. Always Jaynes trained, always drop my promo. You know what, Justin? I did have one actual final question, though I did want to ask you.
Sure.
I was looking at your Tapology right before this. I've just glossed over this my life, but your fighting style in there says Jedi Master, and it made me chuckle, and that I just want to shout you out for that. And I guess
hell yeah, dude, Jedi Master using the Force, baby. I don't really have a style. I kind of just do whatever I do in the moment, man. I don't really think about what I'm doing. I just kind of react. So Jedi Master using the Force. That's how the Force works, man.
Yeah, I loved it. I was going on Tapology this morning. I was like, that is just classic Justin Jaynes right there.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Of course, but Justin, thank you so much for taking the time. If you got any socials or people you want to shout out, platform is yours.
Yeah, I want a big shout out to Reveal Interior Design. Big shout out to Flying Pig Seed Company. Both these guys have helped me out so much. Self Equipment, always been there since day one. I got Fortis Mouthpiece. Man, supplying all my mouthpiece. We got the Justin 316 mouthpiece coming out this fight. We got Andrew Jacoby with Limitless. He's been taking care of my body, for the last 15 years. Every time I have an injury, I go check him out. So check out Limitless Training. And that's about it.
Awesome. Guys,
wait, one more. I just picked up yesterday, Lane Frost brand. Guys, if you don't know who Lane Frost is, world champion bull rider, died in a bull riding incident in 1989, the year I was born. They're out of Oklahoma. They have an incredible clothing line. It's called lanefrostbrand.com. Guys, check them out. I'll be rocking their gear. They'll be in my walkout attire for the fight. But again, guys, lanefrost.com. lanefrostbrand.com.
Hell yeah. Go check out lanefrostbrand.com. There you go. Shout out from Justin Jaynes. Guys, Justin Jaynes is back. He fights this Friday at Tuff-N-Uff. Make sure to check it out. And Justin, best of luck to you, my friend. Always.
Thanks, my guy. I appreciate you, Danny.
Of course.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.